Hello and welcome to Gadget Guru, where this week we have two big stories for you. UB Slate in our hands and the person behind that and behind the Akash with us right here in the studio. And then there's another really big story as well, right? I can see it in front of me.
Yeah, really big stories, right? Because it's really big and behind us. So interesting, a big show for us today.
Let's start by taking a look at the UB Slate and also trying to figure out what's happening on Akash too. And we have the man behind it, Mr. Sunit Tuli, right here with us, CEO of Datawind. First of all, Akash 2 is something which is much awaited. You know all the problems that there were with Akash 1. Is all that going to be ironed out in the second version?
Sure. You know, every iteration technology improves.
But now that you have hindsight, almost a year, what would you say went wrong with Akash and even your own UB Slate, the first version?
I'd say setting expectations correctly went wrong.
Okay.
What that product was intended to do, it did. It delivered HD quality video, it delivered 3 hours of battery life, and it was intended to be delivered with a resistive screen.
What about the numbers? We were told about humongous numbers into lakhs and millions, and then we were told no one company could ever have done that. In fact, we spoke with you and you said it's not possible. So was it that everybody bit off more than they could chew? That's the Indian government and you and everybody else whose dream this was?
So far, we're the only party manufacturing and supplying it.
Okay.
And as I said, you know, it's a learning process. You manufacture a product, you put it out there, you get some experience from it, you improve it, and you put it out there again. Yeah. You look at...
So just taking that forward, you know, I think one of the learnings of that entire experience is that it could be really cheap, but then even $40 is a lot of money. So, you know, $50 is a lot of money for the people whom that is targeted at. And so the quality really has to be better. And in this day, maybe, you know, resistive screens won't cut it. You do need to have slightly better features.
I agree. You need capacitive screens. You need mobile phone connectivity. You need Cortex-A8 processors. You need a variety of things of that nature, depending on what product, which is intended for which market, for what application. If you're trying to use educational videos to teach kids, then that's all that matters. You know, it doesn't matter if it's being run on a resistive screen or a capacitive screen or a screen that's not a touch screen, right? So it's how it's positioned and how it's put out there. The product that we're launching to market, there's a resistive version, there's a capacitive version. Both of our products have Wi-Fi. Most importantly, both of our products are also smartphone.
Okay, so before we get into discussing these, I think we should just show you what these are, because I have to say, at this price point, and this is 3,000 for one of them and 4,000 for the other, it's actually pretty good value for money. And this does have the capacitive screen, actually surprisingly easy to use, and it's got a phone built into it. But let's just show you all that this can do.
The world's cheapest tablets, UB Slate 7 series, has been launched in the country, ironically by the same organization tasked to produce the first lot of Akash tablets. UB Slate 7C and 7 Plus were launched at price points of 3,000 and 4,000 rupees respectively by Datawind, with the only difference that the expensive version boasts a capacitive screen vis-a-vis its cheaper resistive cousin.
But that's exactly where the differences end, because in terms of everything else, both these tablets are pretty similar. In fact, I would say exactly similar. So our endeavor today is to find out, even at this price point, do they really justify themselves as value for money? So let's dive in.
First, the looks. Well, let's say if it's not great, it's not bad either. A plain and simple design is offered in an only black option and a rubberized finish to prevent it from becoming fingerprint and smudge magnet. The screen size is a standard 7-inch multi-touch offering that features an 800 by 480 pixel resolution, so even though low resolution is one of the major constraints at this price, it somehow manages to justify itself.
But I'll tell you what doesn't justify: the fact that this is supposed to be a capacitive screen. I have to admit, this is humongously better than its resistive cousin. But then again, it does feel like a low-cost capacitive screen for a low-cost tablet.
Besides Wi-Fi, the device features connectivity via cellular connectivity, and there is a SIM slot provided for mobile calling. In addition, there is also a micro SD card slot for up to 32 GB of memory, and surprisingly, a USB 2.0 port.
Now, as much as it's surprising, I'll tell you what's my problem with the USB port over here. The fact that it doesn't support internet via a 3G dongle. Look at it this way, a tablet that is being marketed for the masses, this is one must-have that should have been there.
The tablet operates on Android 2.3 Gingerbread operating system and generates power from 800 MHz ARM Cortex processor, which further coupled with 256 MB of RAM is a bare minimum in terms of configuration requirements. So while it will work fine on the pre-installed customized apps, users will definitely have to watch out for heavier apps like gaming. But at the same time, it's apt for all-round works like documents, entertainment and low-level gaming. The tablet runs on a 3200 mAh battery that, according to the manufacturer, gives up to 3 hours of battery life. But we would suggest you to be prepared to refuel anytime after a couple of hours. The device comes with standard 3.mm audio connectivity for greater compatibility with other devices. But sadly, there is no camera, so no video recording or calling.
You know, before we started the show, I tweeted out saying, I'm meeting Mr. Tully, and we got this huge number of people writing to us.
Where is it?
I mean, you have an apology, he has an apology. And if you go to his website, the first thing you see is an apology. Because pre-order started somewhere in Jan, and those people are obviously frustrated. It's now May, and they haven't got their deliveries. What happened? What would you like to say to them? Now you're saying deliveries are on, but, you know, what should they expect? What's going on for them now?
So deliveries are on, and we're still apologetic. And the reason we're apologetic is that even in the next 90 days, many people will be unhappy because we will not have caught up to deliveries. We're sitting on 30 lakh pre-bookings. We get 8 to 10,000 a day.
That's 30 lakh tablets have been pre-booked. Which brings me to my next question. If you're going to have trouble with what you already have for UB Slate, how does Mr. Kapil Sibal and his Akash, which needs millions more, how do you take care of that? I mean, this is going to be a bit of a situation for everybody from here.
Within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we expect to get to 3,000 to 5,000 units a day, and we expect to ramp to 10,000 units a day.
So for the moment, your backlog is going to go on increasing.
For the moment,
the
until we hit
bookings are 8,000 a day, and that's just for the UB Slate, and you're only going to be able to do 4,000 or 5,000.
Yes. So we're going to still be behind the curve for a little while.
Then comes the Akash too.
But
that's what I'm saying, sir.
But within the next,
it's a good problem to have, but I see when you have a very clear dream.
And think of when they start rebundling the NDTV app with this. Then think of the demand.
That's what I keep telling them.
Mind-boggling. It's absolutely the mind-boggling.
All right, good.
It's a pleasure having you with us, and we'll get you back in again as the Akash 2 is out there. This, I have to say, these are really interesting devices. It's taking tablet computing to a whole new market and audience out there, and let's hope the manufacturing can keep pace.
Absolutely.